There we are. There we are. Hello, my name is Sandra, and welcome to my channel From Lack to Legacy. On this channel, we're all things money, investing, and mindset with a little travel and lifestyle sprinkled in. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what to do. Hit all the buttons, like, subscribe, share the channel, join in the chat. Feel free if you have a question. If this is your first time, the way we do it around here is if you have a question, put three Q's in front of your question, and our wonderful moderator, Marilyn, will post your question up for the panel to address your question. If you're returning, you already know the drill. Y'all know you say hello in the chat. Everybody says hello when you come in. Hit the like button and just sit back. I promise you, tonight, you guys are in for a treat. When I tell you the women on this panel are women that I admire, these are women that I know in my real life, not just my virtual life, but I've worked with them. And so this is our first, no, this is our fourth episode of Money After Dark. And so you all know, I really do. I am really Sandra. I don't change. It is what it is. If you see somebody on this panel, it is really somebody that I feel in alignment with. I don't do interviews because I don't consider this like my forte. I am here to connect my friends and my family because in this chat, these are my friends and this is my family. I don't have subscribers. The folks that are even in the chat, these are people I know. I honestly can call them by name. They can reach out and touch me. So what I'm doing tonight, like we do every month with Money After Dark, is we're connecting our family members, my friends, with resources that I think they will find useful in your everyday life. And so since we're talking about money and mindset, I have to tell you all this, and I'm not going to be long winded tonight. I'm not going to hold you. At the beginning of the month, I didn't have one guest scheduled for this episode of Money After Dark, not one. And I started, you know how you roll through your little Rolodex thing in your mind? I'm like, Lord, I don't even know where I'm going this month with this. And I'm telling you, God is faithful. He is always faithful. I didn't have one person, and I'm not going to even say it was the first of the month. It might have been the first week of May. I still hadn't solidified a lineup. And I was like, Lord, where are we going with this? Is this the end of the road? Maybe I only have 4 episodes in me. And surely enough, every woman on this panel that I reached out to, in my mind, I was like, well, it's late. They're going to tell me, no, this is my self-talk. This is me talking to myself. And every sister that I reached out to said yes, almost immediately, almost immediately. And so I say that to say, trust the process. Trust the process. Anything that you're doing in integrity and it's in alignment with your purpose. And I'm a believer. So y'all know, everybody here knows I'm a believer. So I trusted that God would deliver because I've been faithful to what he told me to do. He said, when you do it, tell him I told you to do it and get out of the way. And I did that. And when I tell you all, it turned out better. It was just in my mind, like, Lord, where can I find these people? How am I going to find 5 women for 2 weeks from now? And here they are. And so I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to delay. I'm going to allow each one of my sisters. We'll start with Dr. Linda. Tonight's topic is we have 5 panelists, and there's one of our sisters. She may be a little delayed. Tiffany is on the thumbnail, but she isn't feeling well, so she may join us in a little bit. But she'll pop in, and when she does, we'll allow her to introduce herself. But if you're a sister like me and you find yourself at a crossroads in life, I'm a survivor of a toxic job. It's no shame. I've told everybody. But I had sisters along the way to help me work that out. How did I get out of there? How did I pivot? How have I been able to create income for myself and sustain myself and be on purpose? And so these women are here tonight to share their knowledge, their expertise, and their passion with you. And so we'll get into it. Dr. Linda, will you start us out and just introduce yourself and give us all your social stuff so that the ladies in the chat will know where to find you?
Sure. Thank you so much, Sandra, for having me here. I feel so honored, to be honest. I feel so blessed to be here and to spend some time with you guys. I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in the presence of greatness here. So my name is Linda Eno. I am a wife and a mom of four kids, ages 10, 8, and twin girls of 6 years old. And so I'm a busy person. And I'm located in Houston, Texas. Hopefully, by the end of the year, the plan is to move to Cote d'Ivoire. Don't tell my husband; he's hoping for another country. But my wish is Cote d'Ivoire. And I am a content marketing strategist as well as a tourism consultant. My background is in business, tourism, and a lot of different things. So if you feel like you don't know what to focus on for your business or something like that, I'm your girl. A little bit of everything. And my socials, so I am mostly on Facebook, Linda Lelo Eno. I'm on YouTube as well. I love YouTube. Tokende Travel is my travel channel. And on Instagram, I have two channels. I mean, two handles. So it's either Linda Eno PhD or Tokende Travel. That's where you'll find me.
Thank you. And we dropped all of that information in the description box. I've put it in the chat too. If you scroll up to the top, you'll see everyone's IG in the chat. And if you go over to the description box, you will see all the ways that we have to contact them on social media. Coach Kofi, you up next.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Sister Sandra, for having me today. Hello, my sisters. Greetings. I'm Coach Kofi. I'm a women's empowerment and leadership coach. And I help women to find themselves, overcome fears, and embrace new beginnings. Um, I'm a product of this work, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And it falls right in line with what we're talking about here tonight about the mindset to heal ourselves, the mindset to look in the mirror and face the woman who's staring back at you and find those things that are blocking us. So I love empowering women. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. I'm excited about my new launch, though, that's happening June the 1st. I'm specifically niching down and beginning to work with empaths, introverts, and highly sensitive women. I happen to be all three, so I know them very intimately. That is launching June the 1st. So you can follow me on all social media at Coach Kofi. But if you happen to be one of those sensitive souls like myself, if you are an introvert, an empath, or just a woman who just feels very deeply and you're tired of being beat up by the world, come over and follow me on IG at the Empath Circle. At the Empath Circle.
Thank you, Coach Kofi. And you all see Tiff has joined us. I'm trying to communicate to her. You all, there you are. Hey, Love Muffin. We see you. We see you, sister. Thank you, Tiff. I know that you aren't feeling well, but I'm glad you were able to make it. I think you might be muted. There you go. All right. Next up, we have Francis. Francis, go ahead and give us all the details, like where we can find you.
Hi, everyone. It's also definitely a pleasure to be with you all. Thank you, Sandra, for inviting me. Let's see, me. I I have been in the online space for probably the last 6 years. And I know we're going to touch on this, but my life is all about pivoting. I've pivoted so many times. I am probably just now comfortable with a pivot. So for the past 6 years, I've been in the online space as a virtual assistant, project manager, social media manager. And in February, after returning from Cape Town, I pivoted once again and started a new business in digital marketing and selling digital products. So I'm excited to share that journey and how why I started it, and even in that pivot, it pivoted in and of itself, because I realized I wanted to help others. So I'm excited to share that.
Thank you. You're gonna find that that's a common theme too. My friends are helpers. They are healers. They are teachers. I'm telling you, it's a very this panel is so special for me. It has a special place for me. So next up we have Natalia. This is my sister from Chicago. I'm telling y'all, I get goosebumps. Sister, how are you?
Oh my goodness, I am doing so well, especially to be here with you and with all of the other ladies here and everyone listening. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Sandra. I count it a privilege to be here. And yeah, I'm Natalia Powers. I'm from Chicago. I'm mother of three. My babies are 4, 8, and 11. And I'm a single mother. And I also am the queen of pivoting. I had a career as a CPA and financial analyst for 15 years. And I was like, man, I don't want to climb this corporate ladder no more. Where is this going? Like, these are not the problems that I want to solve. This is not the dream. And so I began to just break into the world of entrepreneurship. And so I'm the founder of the Shift into Success Sisterhood and also the Elite Kingdom Builders Mastermind. And just the unique thing about the spaces that I host, it is faith driven because I believe you can have all of the business strategy in the world and you can try to get your emotions in check about it all. But there's just something special about when we show up because of a spirit led decision, a spirit led initiative that is bigger than ourselves and just totally reliant on God that is greater than ourselves. And so that's me in a nutshell. And I'm so happy and looking forward to the conversation tonight.
Girl, goosebumps, goosebumps, goosebumps. These are my friends. I'm telling you, they say, listen, if you want to know who you are, check your circle. Check your circle. That'll tell you everything you need to know. And another thing, if you're the smartest person in your circle, you need a new circle. So I know that these women here, these are women I hold in such high esteem and such high regard. And finally, rounding out the panel, Tiffany Hurd. When I tell y'all world traveler extraordinaire, author, but I don't want to do it, Tiffany, because I can't do it any justice. Will you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where you are and what you're up to?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Hurd. My business is Hues of Africa LLC. So there's a two-part fold. I am, as Sandra said, I'm a world traveler, and so my solo trips have. Now I'm in the realm of hosting group trips. So we host trips to Ghana, Egypt, and we do day trips to Mexico because I'm near San Diego, where we cross the border. And then the second part of the business is I'm an author of two books called Hues of Africa and Hues of HBCUs. So I started off studying abroad in Ghana, went to South Africa. And so I definitely have a huge passion for the motherland. And then the second one was created because I'm a Howard alum, part of a sorority. And so I just want to get the word out about, college and education to our young and older adults because we all need to know about, the historic path behind HBCUs and then, of course, Africa. And in addition to that, I also am a YouTuber, blogger, all in the travel space. So I'm really excited to be on here tonight.
Thank you for that. All of these women, I'm sure at one point or another held jobs, like traditional jobs and traditional workspaces. And we all pivoted out for whatever the reason were. All of our reasons might be varied. I was near the end of my career, but it was still a pivot. I could have gone on. I'd been in the class for almost 30 years. But I could have stayed an additional 5 years. I had friends that stayed till they were in their 60s. But I knew that that wasn't sustainable for me. It wasn't sustainable for my spirit. It wasn't sustainable for my mental health. And so the day came where I had to decide, it's like, okay, sis, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? And so it was intentional, but it was also divine because it happened during the pandemic for me. And it was the perfect time for me to get out. And at that time, I connected with our Exodus Summit. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Exodus Summit, but I connected with some women there. And I'm telling you, in community, we can do great things. You don't have to do it alone, sister. You don't. So if you're sitting and you're in the chat and that's where you are, either the workplace is toxic or just it's just time to go, whatever the reason is. We have some women here who have some skills, some strategies, some tips, advice that might be able to help you along your journey. So I'm going to ask each one on the panel, if you had just one, well, actually there'll be two. But just if a woman is starting right now today, she's sitting at home, she's holding her head like I was holding my head 3 years ago, like, Lord, where am I going? What am I doing? What would you say to her? Just as the one piece of advice, she's there. Dr. Linda, what would you say?
Oops, there you go. I think the first thing that I would say is that she's not alone. That it's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to be part of the not the norm. It's okay to. I personally thought that. I mean, all of our experiences, I'm sure, are similar. Is that I had the quote unquote dream job. I was in academia. I was a college professor. I had my own hours. It was great. The money was fine. I was teaching. It was great. And but it was I was spending a lot of time telling my students to go after their dreams. And here I was, and I was like, we're gonna review for another test. And it was just like very contradictory. And so the first thing is to acknowledge that it's okay, to acknowledge those feelings, that it's fine, it's okay to go against the norm.
Mhm.
And the second thing is to focus on what you want. It's okay. Like, give yourself permission to think about outside of the box. And two, this is your chance. This is your opportunity to, create your own path and go with what you really want. Like, if you had no limitations, no money, geographical limitations, what would you do? Something that you really love to do. And it's very hard because we're very, we have a lot of boxes around us, and we're like conditioned to think a certain way or do the right thing, whatever the right thing is. And so you really make the effort to really think about, what do you really want deep down, as crazy as it sounds. That would be my tip.
I like that because there is that feeling of being in isolation, like nobody else is going through this. It has to just be me. Yep, it's okay. It is okay. And you are definitely not alone. Coach Kofi, what would you say?
Thank you, sis. Actually, 90 days ago, I made a pivot. I was self employed for 5 years before COVID. And after COVID, I just didn't know how I was supposed to show up. Like, how was I going to empower women when I felt so powerless myself? So I made a pivot and put everything that was dear to me, I placed it in storage. I gave away the rest, sold my car, and bought a one way ticket out of the country. And that's actually how I met Sandra in Mexico. And what I had to do in order to make that move, because we're moved by two things. We're either running away from pain or we're running towards pleasure. And oftentimes that fear, the fear of not knowing, is what holds us back. And that fear, the fear that we don't face, that becomes our limit. So, what I would say to that sister is, it's natural to be afraid. You're supposed to be afraid. You're doing something new that you've never done before. You're challenging yourself. You're shifting your mindset. You're doing things that you didn't think you were capable of, or may not actually have all of the pieces together. Do it scared. Do it anyway, because that fear prolongs what is waiting for you. That fear is prolonging you from showing up in the world in the way that you were meant to show up. Do it scared, sis, because you ain't never not going to be scared. That's how life works.
Ooh, okay. All right, y'all. It's getting good already. I promise you. You cannot feign goosebumps. Goosebumps. Because that it sounds so much like the whole process. And I think you said it. We have probably that same pathway in common. The first thing is to acknowledge that, oh Lord, it's time for a change. So, knowing that you aren't alone is empowering. And then that do it scared, because if you're waiting to not be scared, you might be there for a minute. Do it scared. Tiffany, if you could tell the ladies one thing, what would you tell them? Anybody looking to pivot, to maybe leave a traditional work setting? It could be a relationship that you've outgrown. It could be a town, a city that you've outgrown. What is something that you would share to help all of our sisters move forward?
Okay, really quickly before I answer the question, I wanted to address you asking about Exodus Summit. So I actually met Stephanie Perry as she was doing her sabbatical years ago in Thailand, and we became accountability partners. I'm very familiar with Stephanie, love her, and the wonderful things that she's doing as an example of you talking about Exodus Summit. Um, but for me, I would piggyback and say again, do it afraid. Another thing for me is trying new things out. And I feel like when it comes to entrepreneurship, you have to try it, because if you don't know, how are you going to know if it's going to fail or not? And for me, there are 26 letters in the alphabet. If A, B, C don't work, you still have some more alphabets to try. Now, I hope that you will not have to try all 26 alphabets, but if that's the case, it's okay. I think a lot of times, for me in entrepreneur work, I'm like, okay, this may work, but this may not work. So my advice is to just try it and see how it works with your audience, with yourself, or anything like that, and then you'll kind of know which route that you should be going into.
Yeah. I second that emotion, y'all, because I thought for sure Mexico was going to be my home. I just knew it. Oh Lord, that's where Coach Kofi and I met in Mexico. It was glorious, glorious, absolutely. But it wasn't the place for me. And since then, I've probably bopped around to 6, 7 different countries, y'all. I still haven't found it, but I love that there are 26 letters in the alphabet. I think I'm on like J, but I'm going to keep going until I find that perfect place for me, and that's okay too. That part, it is okay to change your mind. It is okay to pivot again if you need to. It's okay to tweak the plan along the way. That is incredible. And I honestly, y'all, I'm going through just like everybody else. I don't have it figured out. So this isn't that. This isn't like the panel of experts and we're all sitting here and we got it all figured out. We're all in the process. We
And
are
Sandra, I
all.
was like, you make a good point, because I think when we get to a certain age, we think that we should have it all figured out. And I don't care if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, we are still continuously trying to figure life out. So I think we definitely cannot put an age or any of those type of limitations on what we want to do when it comes to certain things. You hear statistics where people are finding love at 80 something years old. I saw a story the other day. They was 100 years old married. Now, I ain't saying that we got to wait till we get 100 years old, but the point is that there's still the possibilities out there, and we should not limit ourselves based on age or where we should be at a particular time. You don't have to be married, or you could. You don't have to have your education at this certain age. And I think about the actor that was in Black Panther, the older lady. She had just started her acting career in her 80s. So, again, the world is your oyster, and you can do anything you want at any age.
Sister, please speak on that love after 60, please, because I'm still hopeful. I promise you, everything that you all are saying, I can honestly say I am living it.
Yes.
Try something new. Don't be afraid. Coach Kofi,
Yeah,
you what?
I just wanted to piggyback on that real quickly about what she was saying about transitioning at any age, because I'm 64 now. I didn't step into my awareness, into my consciousness of who I am and why I show up the way I do until I was in my late 50s. And one of the reasons that I do this work is I want to touch the lives of women, especially women of color, earlier than I did. So they don't have to wait until they're 50 or 60 to step into their power. So the fact that we're all here tonight sharing our stories with this audience, I hope that these women are inspired to do the damn thing no matter how old you are.
Yeah, yeah. There is no limit. I love that. Francis, you got something for us? What's the one thing you would say?
Now,
Sis?
you know, by the time you got to me on my little list here, I'm like, they took away fear and age. What are some, because those are, to me, or from what I hear, the biggest. But what I guess I would add that hasn't been spoken of is like, you do have something to share, right? Like, remember that we all have, and in relation to age, the older we have the experience, we've been through the things. So it's just like you have something, you have a passion, you have experience, you have some kind of knowledge that you can share with the world. So when you're thinking about what new, where you can pivot, there's a direction. When you're going through the alphabet that Tiffany said, there are some letters that you can check, that you can go through, because you have experience. We all have something to share.
Those transferable skills.
Girl.
You all know, I'm telling y'all, you are speaking directly to me. Y'all are speaking to my soul. I was that teacher that had sat in a classroom, loved it, loved it, loved it. It got difficult near the end, but I could hear people saying, what are you going to do? You've been doing this for 30 years. You're just a teacher. What are you? There are so many skills that we have inherently that we're so accustomed to them because we live with it every day. But somebody in the world needs what you have. You have, whether it's you can speak to people, whether you can knit, bake cookies, whatever it is, we all have a purpose. We all have a gift. We all have a talent. We all have something that somebody else can benefit from. And so I'm here to say, y'all are killing the game. Yes. Get out there, figure it out, do a skill inventory. That whole idea of transferable skills was new to me because I drank the Kool-Aid too. I felt like I'm just a teacher. What else you gonna do? You just a teacher. Look, I can teach anything. I don't have to just teach 5-year-olds. I can teach anybody anything. So I want you all to open your minds up because you definitely have something to offer. Yep, Francis, that was good. Girl, you don't need no list. That was good. Good stuff. Natalia, what do you have to say for us? What can we do? What's the one thing that if a sister's sitting there trying to figure it all out, what would you tell her?
So before I address that, I just want to piggyback all of this on all of this goodness about pivoting. And what I notice is that we are all trying to evade the shame that comes with pivoting because there are societal norms that tell us that we should have it figured out and we should just be paid doing one thing for this amount of time. And in entrepreneurship, our pivoting is an attribute of our evolution. So the more that we learn, the more that we experience, we're always going to be pivoting. And it's always going to feel abnormal to the norm because you're breaking out of mediocrity and just everybody's expectation of this norm or this level of stagnation. So I love this conversation.
I
Um,
never thought about that, the shame part. But you are so right. There's a certain shame with you haven't figured it out and you aren't following the path. I
but we're
never thought.
learning and aligning. And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful process. It's actually a beautiful process that needs to be celebrated rather than something that we should feel shame about, you know? And so my bit of advice is right off the bat, don't do it alone. You are not alone and don't do it alone, and to get around like-minded individuals that understand the power of the pivot and understand the frequency of the pivot that is necessary to be truly aligned to the greatness that is inside of us and that is like breaking free from inside of us. And so when we're in the right circle, when we're in the right community,
Mhm.
we will be celebrated. I've had clients that come and say, I feel kind of uncomfortable about what we discussed, and it's this shame. And I'm like, you're blooming, you're blossoming, you're evolving. And we're not going to put you in that box, and we're going to celebrate. And so it's the power of community that's going to celebrate all of the pivots, the changes, the alignments, the expansions, and to call out the contractions in fear, the contractions that we have with limitations, the contractions that we have with shame. And so that would be my bit of advice. Don't do it alone. Find your community, find your tribe that is going to celebrate you every step of the way.
I love it. I'm
Can I add
telling you.
something on? Can I add something about pivoting? What's important, and actually, I started. I was working a sales job, and I stayed far too long. It was 100% commission. I was broke, but I refused to give up because I was just like, I keep doing new things, and I dug myself in a financial hole because I refused to give up, and it didn't work out. And I knew it wasn't for me, but I stayed because I didn't want to fail. And fast forward, I thankfully left that. And then when I tried something else 2 years ago, it wasn't working. And within like 6 months, I was like, you know what? This is not what I signed up for. Not good for me. I'm moving on. So I learned it's okay. I stayed at the other one too long because society, oh, well, you keep trying new things and you should have it together. And I was just listening to those external forces too much. But then I realized in the last one, I was just like, you know what, this is not working for me. And so I stopped within 6 months with no shame, and told all my friends, like, oh, I moved on to something else now. Because it
But
wasn't it wasn't right. And I knew it.
can we talk about ignoring that voice, your intuition? Oh my goodness, how many times have we stayed in a space that we knew no longer served us? It wasn't healthy for us. And your body, it got so bad for me, y'all. My body was saying, okay, keep it up. keep going. Keep re-entering that space that doesn't serve you, that doesn't support you, that doesn't respect your talent, that doesn't respect your gift. Keep going. I mean, I was literally crying every day. You all know my story. I thought it was menopause. I could tell the whole world. I sure did. So I'm hiding. I'm like, well, maybe that's why I'm crying. I was making excuse, self-gaslighting. I was gaslighting myself, ignoring every sign. I knew I wasn't comfortable. I knew that this was not, it was time. It was past time to go. So my little 2 cents is whatever that little voice is, get quiet, get still enough, listen, because the universe is supporting us. I'm telling you, when you get with like-minded women, they will reinforce that for you too. They will hold you accountable. The naysayers, nix them. I'm telling you, right? That's my 2 cents. Nix the naysayers, get them out of the way. The first person, and that's not constructive criticism because we want that. We want to be open to hearing that there might be another way to look at a thing or there might be another path. But you'll know it. You'll know when those dream killers, everybody knows a dream killer. As soon as you discover this is a dream killer, you got to go. No dream killers here. If you can't encourage and say something positive and redirect in a positive way, I don't need to hear it from you. You're not the source for me. But I would say for me, it was ignoring that little voice. My body knew, everything around me was saying, child, it's been time to go. Would you please put your shoes on and get up out of here? So don't ignore that little voice. If that little nagging thing is saying nothing around here is working, nothing's in alignment, I don't feel good about this, it's okay. All those things the lady said, don't do it alone, do it afraid, find you a community to do it. When you put all that stuff together, oh sis, it's coming. It's going to happen for you. So not only do we have advice for you all, these ladies have practical things, because each one here is an entrepreneur in herself. So she's got every woman represented on this panel not only has that advice for you, but some practical things. Dr. Linda, can you share with the audience what you do specifically and how that might aid a sister in making this pivot, or just if she wants to launch her own business, what would you tell her? Or
Sure.
what kind of
Something that
services?
was
Because we want folks to
very,
know. And I put all the information in the description and in the chat too. So tell us what you do.
something that I've done since the beginning. So I started my journey in 2013, but I officially left my job in 20 end of 2016. And the practice that has helped me is being able to work on my mindset every day. And for me, working on my mindset is journaling, reading my Bible, being in the presence, like knowing what I'm like every single day. It has to be. And I have every time I've been in the seasons when I'm like, I'm confused, I don't know what I'm doing, or oh my gosh, so many ideas, I'm going here, I'm going there. It's because I'm not consistent with my mindset work. Every time. If my mind is not right, everything else falls apart. And so that's a practice that I've started like since from the beginning. And I mean, I'm not saying that is easy, that I do it every day. No, I don't. But I know that when I don't do it, then I see the consequences. I'm not saying that when I do it, oh, I land a client. No, it's just that at least my mind is right, and I know that I'm calm, I'm at peace, whatever the result that I'm getting, I'm okay. I know that I'm not defined by the results that I get and all of that. But otherwise, I'd be like, oh my gosh, nobody bought. Oh, that means I have to quit. Oh my gosh. And then I go crying to my husband and I'm like, oh, I think I want to go get a job. Every time I'm in that panic season is because my mind is not right. But if I'm at peace with what I do every day, it's that consistency. And so for me, this is something very practical that I do, that I try to do, just so that I can stay consistent, that I can get my mind right. And when my mind is right, the actions follow.
Mhm.
That's what I always encourage people to do.
Yep. You see everybody nodding their head. Yep. 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 That mindset is everything. It's everything. Because you can be your own worst enemy. You're the source of your own undoing when you don't tame that. And if you're not aware of what you're thinking and what you're saying. And for me, gratitude is such a big part of it too. I start right there. Because first of all, Lord, I'm glad to even be here. I'm breathing. I got a chance to open up my eyes again to work it out again. I'm okay. I'm grateful for the problem. You've given me
Exactly.
all the tools. I'm grateful for it. That leads so beautifully into Coach Kofi because Coach Kofi does this kind of work. I'm telling you, mindset work. And Kofi, for me, is so dear to me because I'm a fellow introvert, empath, sensitive soul, and it can be rough out here in these streets for us.
Yes.
What are some practical things you can share?
If someone were to ask me what I would do if I were starting over my business again, I've been coaching for over a decade now, empowering women. I would say that the most important thing to do is to heal by really knowing yourself, because you've got the challenges of pivoting. You've got the challenges of starting a new business. You've got the challenge of raising income and all of those things. And then you have this internal battle with yourself going on, whether it's the imposter syndrome or I'm not ready or I'm not good enough or all of those limiting beliefs. That energy, when we can expose that, when we can extract it, when we can quiet it, then we can take that energy and apply it into our jobs, and apply it into that thing that we're birthing out into this world. I spent so much time in my head. I spent so many years in my head when I could have been focusing on my business. But you know what? It is a process, sisters. I will tell you that it is a process and a journey that you must go through. But be sure to, enter intentionally. You know, look at yourself in the mirror. Identify where you need help. Where are your weaknesses and what are your strengths? What is really, really blocking you? What are you really afraid of? You've got to answer those types of questions. And although they may be hard and you won't have the answers may not come to you immediately, but every step you take gives you more enlightenment. Because when we're stuck in fear, when we're stuck in that job, in that relationship, our blinders are like this, and all you can see is this. But as you begin to question yourself, find out who you are, accept yourself, and heal, you see more of the world. And when you can see more of the world, you see more opportunities. So as much of that internal work that you can do, don't put it for last. Make it a priority, because it's going to get you where you want to go, whether you're pivoting, whether it's in your job or in your relationships. You'll get there much, much faster by showing up as your authentic self rather than having to retrace those paths when you figure out, oh, that's not it. So I could go on for hours, but yeah.
And Coach Kofi does that work. I always say therapy is not a bad word. I don't know about you, but in I grew up in a very traditional Black household where you could be anything, but please don't be crazy. Oh, or if you are, keep it quiet, because if not, we're gonna put you in the back room. It was, you could not. Therapy was just not on the menu, and so I just decided, well, you know what? It might not be on the menu for you all, but I need help. I need to heal from this generational trauma that we are just carrying on and sweeping under the carpet. And so I couldn't agree more. Mindset, therapy, meditation, coaching. Sometimes you need help. All of those things can happen in community or with some of these wonderful ladies that have these services right here for you. So I put Coach Kofi's information up. Coach Kofi does that kind of coaching. So if that's you, sister, we are here for you. Tiff, you with us? Tiffany, what's something pretty practical? Because you're a two-time author. What are some practical things that you might say to a woman in terms of
Um,
moving along on this journey?
okay, I have 2 points. One of the points I had mentioned it early is find an accountability partner. The accountability partner was so wonderful for us. There was three of us, so it was a trio. I think I was doing um first of all, what was I doing? Anyway, Stephanie, I think, was doing YouTube. Danielle was doing podcasting. I was doing blogging. So at the time, it worked really great because we were actually able to share each other's content. So people from Stephanie's YouTube channel be like, "Hey, I met you on there, so now I'm becoming your follower as well." And also, when we had goals, we would check in every week. "Hey, sis, how you doing? What did you accomplish?" And it made you accomplish more because you're like, "Dang it, somebody's gonna hold me accountable when they talk to me next week." So I feel like it is always good to bounce ideas off each other because you have your parent, your mom. I'm really close to my mom. You have your spouses, all these people you can talk to, but sometimes they just don't understand the entrepreneurship world. So you need somebody that understands sales, you need somebody that understands marketing, and then also that allows you to bounce ideas off of each other. So if you do not have an accountability partner, make sure that you find one. Does it have to be in your field? It can be your field or it cannot. So it really just depends, and it may take a couple tries to find that right person, but definitely seek that out. And then my second point is once you are starting to make money and starting to scale, it's to hire help. I think as Black women, we have been taught to be strong and to do everything by ourselves. And I'm in the era where I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But can I hire somebody else to do my marketing? Can I hire somebody else to do my, my social media? Can I hire an accountant? I am finding myself that I like to think about the big picture ideas, but sometimes I don't feel like doing the small details. It has to be done, but I can actually hire somebody else to do that. And I think we have to learn to let things go. Once you are able to teach somebody how you want it, are they going to do it exactly like you? Maybe not, or maybe they will. But the point is to start delegating that because that takes the pressure off of you. We are inundated with our family life, the entrepreneur, if we're in the education world. So there's so many facets that we're in that we have to learn how to let go and delegate some of these things so that that makes our entrepreneurship a journey a little bit easier. And contrary to what people believe, a lot of these celebrities and stuff, y'all, they got people behind the scenes doing a whole lot. I was at a conference and this guy said, I can't even remember who the celebrity was, but he was like, "Yeah, I write his speeches for him." I was like, "What? You write speeches for this man?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, this is what we doing." So again, we're over here thinking that everybody's doing their own stuff, and in actuality, everybody ain't. So those would be my 2 points for entrepreneurs.
I'm all about hiring some help. Come on, are you kidding me? We learned that in Mexico. Stephanie has definitely been a proponent of we don't cook, we don't clean. You can hire somebody to do those things for you. Francis, and you all, the ladies that are here, they have these services. We have coaches, we have people here that are brand experts. We have digital product creation, all of that. You want to pivot into a business? Check these ladies out. You don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to go outside of your community. I'm all too for circulating the black dollar. Now, you can find help anywhere you want. That's on you. But personally, if I got a sister that I don't have to explain my culture to, and we can talk, man, that makes my life so much easier. It makes it so much easier for me. So utilize what we have in front of us. Francis is digital, everything digital product. Oh my God. I'll let you do it, Francis.
I will. I just wanted to echo what Tiffany was saying about, and I think someone else mentioned about accountability. I've been a person who has navigated life alone since I was a teenager, and I have a lot of bruises because of that. There's a lot of pain and bruising that I probably didn't necessarily have to suffer if I weren't a person who felt like I had to do life on my own. And that's part of the healing journey of kind of other things, but realizing I've always done things on my own. And I recently started with accountability partners, maybe a month ago. And I remember saying, as I was starting, telling them a piece of the new business, and as the words were coming out, I was like, well, this doesn't make sense. And it was the hearing myself say it. And normally I work at home by myself, so I don't, the thoughts are in my mind. And so when I heard myself, it was like, well, that sounds crazy. Why would I do that? And being able to bounce off the ideas with the accountability partners really kind of reeled me back in and kept me on track. And so I realized how important it really is to have accountability partners. As far as digital products, my pivot in February, when I was in Cape Town, I was about 20 hour flights, and I wasn't in first class, and I was like, this sucks. I didn't like being in Gen Pop. I was like, why am I making a right? Everyone's making a left. I want to make a left. I want to be in a pod. But I had coach seats. And then I said, you know what? When I get back, I need to start a new business. I need an added stream of income. What can I do? And so I thought about creating digital products. I wasn't certain, but I had researched it a bit. Once I started, it shifted into me wanting to help others create digital products. And so that's what I'm doing now. What I do is basically have an online store where I have products that can help others create digital products. So it shifted from me wanting to do it. I still want to do it, but I guess there's something in me that likes to help others more. And so like my passion really moved to, wow, look, as Black women, we have so much to give. We have so much to share, so much talent, so much passion. Let's do this. Let's show, let's sell, let's make money online. Like, why are these 20-year-olds becoming millionaires?
Mm-hmm.
And I am not afraid. I'm 53. I'm not afraid to learn from a 21-year-old. Mm-hmm. There was a 21-year-old selling some products about wigs, and it's not my thing, but I was like, I can learn from this 21-year-old because she's making $10,000 a week. Teach me your ways. And so that kind of led me on this path of helping other women, people, create digital products based on their own passions, their hobbies, their expertise, whatever it may be. So I know that my information is on there, and if anybody has questions, that's the business that I'm building right now.
Listen, digital products are the new come up, y'all. I'm trying to tell you.
Digital education. Why are we? I am not advocating that the kids don't go to school. I already did it. That's on them. That's on the parents to teach these kids. But these 20-year-olds are like, I'm making more than my parents.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. In
In
their pajamas at home, in their pajamas behind the computer screen. Give me some, please. I'm sorry. I want to work in my pajamas too, ladies. Exactly. I don't want to get up in the morning. I don't want to go talk to a boss. I promise you. I don't think I could ever have. I know, not even I think. I could never fit in that box. I could never fit in that box again. You could never put me back in that box with a boss. Who?
Wait, Sasha, if any of us went back, these bosses would be 25. I cannot ask a 25-year-old for PTO. I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. Can I take time off? And this person's 20. I can't.
You see what I'm saying? Now listen, and I know you got the digital product thing down. When I think of Natalia, I know you do branding. You do this kind of like this whole umbrella thing. Tell us what it is, because I don't, I can't do it any justice. But I'm telling y'all better get their information. I have put it down. I'm trying to help. I have given you all the coaches. I have given you all the entrepreneurs. I've given you the teachers, the leaders, the thought leaders. Just connect. We got to get in there. Natalia, tell us what you do, because I know you do branding. You do the whole shebangity boodle.
Yeah. So basically what I do is I help entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs to, number one, understand yourself. If you can understand yourself, then you will also understand your wealth creation power. And you will understand the box that you've been trying to live in for all of your life. So understand yourself. And once we can understand ourselves, then we can brand ourselves and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do all day, every day. Then when you brand yourself, you can start to market yourself. Because a lot of people have businesses, but because they have not properly branded themselves, they have a whole business with landing pages and digital products and all of the things, but they don't have the authority and the confidence and the boldness to market themselves. And I talk to so many entrepreneurs who have launched, but just like, I don't know how to market consistently. I'm afraid to market consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like after you market, I'm afraid to tell people like how much my offer is. And so then it comes into sales. And so what I do is I help entrepreneurs to really understand your worth. And that's what my thing would be. Above all the business strategy, landing pages, offer creation, don't neglect the discovery process to understand your worth. And that's why them 20-year-olds are out there making all this money because they like, listen, I am immature. I will squander all the money that I have, but guess what? I'm going to show up because I know I got something that you need.
They say it with their chest. They say exactly who they are with their chest. And you're right, because we're not used to doing that. Come on, y'all. Most of us grew up in a time. I know I definitely grew up in a time when you were to be seen and not heard. You definitely were supposed to act like a lady. You had to think like a lady, walk like a lady, talk like a lady. All of that stuff was to basically control you into being small, play small, keep it quiet, keep it cute. Are you kidding me? But these kids have grown up on TV. They tell everything. They tell their whole lives. So it's second nature to them to be on YouTube or to be on Instagram and TikTok. The things that they share, I'm not saying I'm going to go there, but I get it. When you know who you are and you aren't ashamed and you aren't held back by these limitations and these limiting beliefs, you can say that stuff with your chest. You can be like, yes, this is exactly what I offer. This is exactly how much it's going to cost you to get what I got. And now what? What are we going to do? Are we doing business or aren't we doing business? Because what I've learned over the last year is that there is somebody, it might not be the person sitting, and let me say this too, it might not be your mother, it might not be your cousin, but there is somebody out there who needs what you have, and they're willing to pay you for your expertise. And so, Natalia, I'm with you, sister. I'm starting to say it with my chest. Yes, this is who I am, and
Yeah.
this is what I offer, and this is what it costs. Let's talk.
Yes, 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 yes. And so it's really just another thing that I'll call out, just practical advice. It- as a believer, okay, this is for people who are okay believing, okay, acknowledge God,
Yep.
acknowledge God, because perfection, when you truly, truly, truly acknowledge God, perfectionism you'll see as pride and self-reliance. And somebody mentioned it, that us as Black women, we are, like with the muscles popping out, just like self-reliant. And that is pride. And so if we can truly acknowledge God, even in our business endeavors, it's like, I'm not doing this. God, you're doing this. You're my creator. And you are also empowering me to be a vessel, not of perfection, but just like, this is my story. This is what I have to offer. This is what I do. And so if we can acknowledge God, we'll understand the power of personal branding is just telling your story and
Mhm.
just telling like, this is how I achieve what I've done, not because of my own power and my own perfection, you know? And so
Mhm.
Yes, and I love what Dr. Kofi. If you're a doctor,
We're speaking it. We're speaking it into existence.
heal, heal. That's so major.
Mhm,
That's so major. But yes. That's what I have to share.
mhm,
I want to touch on what she was saying about the personal branding, because when you start a new business, there's this learning curve. And I experienced that being in a new space and seeing what everyone else was doing and feeling like, maybe I shouldn't, and it took me a good month and a half to like, wait a minute, it didn't feel good. I need to show up as myself. And so what you're saying is it was, the learning curve. Sometimes, you see a space, it's new, and you're like, all right, how can I navigate? And it took me a minute, but after about 4 or 5 weeks, I was just like, I'm from New York. I only know how, first of all, I'm from the Bronx. I only know how to show up as myself. And it just felt inauthentic. So everything she's saying about, knowing yourself and your brand and your brand before everything, because then you can walk into a space proudly, because you think you're proud until you're like, oh, maybe I'm not. Let me make sure. So everything you said really hit home for me.
mhm.
Sandra,
Have
I was
you?
going to say something about you had mentioned that people are willing to pay for your expertise. And it is very true. As I told you, I'm an author and I've been getting speaking engagements. So I was contracted to do 6 schools, and she was like, well, tell me your price. I was like, well, I don't know how much to charge. And the price that she gave me, I was like, oh, you got this type of budget, okay. And so sometimes I feel like we don't even know how to price ourselves, and you will get a client that will tell you how much you're worth. And so when I said, and then there'll be some little imposter syndrome in there. I had done something for an hour and I was like, do I deserve to get paid this much? Now, why would I say that to myself? I absolutely deserve the amount of money that I'm getting, but sometimes we place, fears and limits on ourselves, and there will be somebody that will show up and tell us how worthy that we are, but we also got to put it out there, because if nobody knows about your business and what you're doing, they can't even pour into you. So I feel like that's the cool thing about showing up as an entrepreneur. People will pour into you and show you how much you are worth. And that's what I learned this year. Like, I am absolutely worthy, and so is everyone else. If you have an expertise and if you have a skill, you are worthy of 6 figures. You are worthy of getting paid $1,000 an hour to show up for a speaking engagement. Absolutely. You have to walk into that.
And that's
Yeah,
why those accountability groups are important, right? Because it'll be your accountability group that say, yes, you are worth it. You have to be willing to say it out loud, like I did that time.
yep,
And your people will tell you, absolutely. As a matter of fact, go double.
yep.
If you think
Stephanie
you're
told me
okay,
exactly that. Yep. Francis, you talking to the choir. Tiffany, I was in a class with Stephanie. It was get your next 3 clients. And when I told her what I was charging, girl, she was like, if you come with me right now. She was like, you need to triple. She said, how long? What did we took it? She took me back. She's like, Sandra, how many hours does it take you to prep? You do this how many weeks? How many hours are you putting in? Divide that by what you're charging. She said, girl, you are getting less than $7 an hour. Are you insane? But we don't know what we don't know sometimes. And so having that accountability partner, and then just having your sister say, go, 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 go. I did it, but still that little thing on the inside was saying, girl, nobody gonna pay. When I tell you all, and this is the truth, it's documented that I got the next 3 clients at the price that was tripled. I want to say, did I triple or quadruple the price? The next 3 clients came within a month. It wasn't even a month, y'all. It was a week. I posted that thing in January. By the first week in January, I had my next 3 clients at this. It was either tripled or quadrupled the price. It's somebody in this chat that was in that cohort with me. They know because everybody gasped when I told them the price. They were like, oh my goodness. But you don't know what you don't know. And I am so grateful that those women spoke life into me and held me accountable and said, oh no, you're going to change that price.
And that's
And
if you and Sandra, if you had not changed, I mean, and once you change your price, that is your price. We don't got no questions. If you got to ask me a question about my price, then you are not my client. I'm okay with that. There is
yep,
somebody else that is going to pay my price, and we have to be okay with letting people go. And I'm not about to explain nothing. I don't have to explain my price to you. Either you are going to take it or you are not. And you can go with the cheaper alternative. We see how that turns out. We see people try to make Pinterest cakes, and it's like, no, maybe you should have hired the cake baker to go ahead and make the cake. But if you want to do it on your own, that's the same way I do group trips. People always because I'm a solo traveler as well, but people always say in the solo trips, oh, these group trips are charging so much more. So what? And I said, you realize what you're paying for is you are paying for somebody to put your trip together, and all you got to do is show up. If I'm not deserving of that money, then no, you do not need to go on a group trip. How about you create your own trip? And I know how hard it is to create your own trip. So you can either pay somebody what they're worth or you can do it your way. But don't come talk to me asking me no questions about my price. End of the story.
yeah. So if you're thinking about it, sister, because I know the pivot for me, a lot of it was how am I going to replace this income? Oh Lord, this I'm making this amount of money. How am I going to make enough to sustain myself? How am I going to make enough to feed myself? Trust me, sister. Money is out there. Money is being made. People are making money every day. Everybody's not in the process of the pivot. Folks got, what is it, discretionary money? Oh, yes, they do. And they are willing to part with it, especially if you offer a service that makes somebody's life easier, if you can get them from point A to point B quicker, any of those things. That's why it doesn't have to be. I think sometimes we think it has to be something big and revolutionary. It really doesn't. If your idea simplifies the process for somebody, gets them there quicker, solves their problem, is somebody willing to pay for it? I know I am. Listen, I pay a cleaning lady. I sure will. I can clean, but why would I? When this is, look, this is what she does, and I don't squabble about her price. That's what you charge. Come on in, let's get it done. Meal prep. I don't have time to be doing all these healthy meals. If it was left up to me, girl, I'd be eating nachos. Pay somebody to do those things because it solves a problem, and I don't argue about the price. So there is somebody out there who needs what you have, and they're willing to pay the price. I'm trying to see. I'm just scrolling through the chat. Y'all jump in there. I was scrolling through the chat
Can
to
I say
see.
something?
Uh-huh.
So I know that like when people are getting ready to pivot into entrepreneurship, it's like, oh my God, all of these things, branding, marketing, sales, like all these things, right? Systems, just all these things. And so another practical advice that I would give is just come up with an offer. Like that simple. Come up with the offer and see how it changes your life. When you say, I help people solve this problem. I help people achieve this dream. This is how long it takes. This is how much it costs. And so every time you out in the street or at a restaurant, at a baby shower, at a wedding or at a networking event, you're armed with that offer, and you start to just become like an alarm or alert. This person needs this problem solved, right? And it's like you start the conversation because you know they have this problem, they have this dream, and you got this offer, you got this solution, and you already crafted. This is the timeline, this is how much it costs, this is the framework, this is how we do this. So just be armed with an offer. And it's really that simple.
We used to call that your elevator speech. Have that really quick. Yep. Because folks might not have 10 minutes for a full presentation, but everybody's got 30 seconds. If you can distill down what you do and how you get it done and what the benefit is to them, you can craft that in under a minute. That's cocktail conversation. You literally can have that conversation in the time it takes an elevator to go from the first floor to the fifth floor. So have that. That's priceless. But I think that also speaks to us being comfortable with talking about ourselves and selling ourselves. And so many of us have been tamped down that you don't do that, you're bragging, or you don't do that, you let somebody else speak highly of you. You let some, no, sister, it is okay to say, this is what I do. I'm good at it too. And you know what I have found is helpful to you guys? Once you've offered that service and somebody has, taken a part of your offer and they have great results, let them write a testimonial for you. Use that testimonial, put it out there. It is okay. My mom used to say this, and I know y'all probably heard this: don't get too big for your britches. Who says that? I'm like, no, get too big for your britches. That's exactly, nobody wants to be stuck in the same pair of britches. That's what I want to say, mama. Nobody wants to be in the same britches forever. You want to get too big for your britches, not in a boastful way, but you want to be constantly growing and evolving. And so, yeah, you can't stay in the same space, and it is absolutely okay to
I
say, this is what I do.
I just posted it on my Instagram. I just bet on myself. Right? Like I bet on myself. If I don't bet on myself, who's going to? I've been betting on myself my whole life. It's gone well. It's gone wrong. It's gone horribly. I've been broke. I've not. I've done it all. Every time I've bet on myself. Each time I try something new, I I won't. It's funny. I'm not a foodie. There are a lot of foods I won't try. It's a thing. But I cannot understand why people won't try a new business. Like I just don't try it. Like,
Yeah.
what's the worst that happens? It doesn't work out. So what? And I don't know why I feel unfair sometimes because I'm so kind of like, energetic when I say, what's the worst that happens? It doesn't work. So what? Move on. Find the next thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't get, but meanwhile, I'm the person who won't try food. But it's just like, just try it. Right? Like
Yep.
if you have an idea, we all have ideas. And what Natalia was saying about like whatever your passion is, like we all know something. There's somebody who has a problem you can solve. They will pay money for it. And it might be $2,000, it might be $30. If you get enough people to spend $30 on your product, you're good. You can be in your pajamas. And so when you do those numbers, try it. Just try it.
I was
Yep.
I want to also piggyback and say the same thing with if you have products. I carry my books with me all the time. Yeah, I'm pulling that book out. Like, hey, you want to travel? You've been to HBC? You in a sorority? And so it's important to carry your products. And then the other thing is networking. Go to these networking events. And sometimes we have to realize. Sometimes it may seem like the networking event doesn't work at that time, but I've made connections with people, and a year later they're following up and they're buying books or they're going on a trip or something like that. So don't underestimate something if it doesn't happen right now. You're fostering those relationships so that eventually something will work out. And one of the persons, I think it was Tanya Brooks, said she's unemployed, she has nothing to lose. And sometimes I think we think that unemployment, or in my case, getting laid off from work, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But at the same time, I feel like God was like, I got you. I was supposed to be out for 6 months and ended up being out for 4 years. So sometimes I feel like sometimes we think it look like it's not a blessing, but could very well be a blessing, because for me, I was cool with my 9 to 5. Long as I can travel, I'm very content. I don't need a whole lot of stuff. So, but I also feel like that pushed me into the entrepreneurship world that I probably wouldn't have tried had I still been at the 9 to 5 job. So we have to look at stuff that may look like it's bad or it's all wrong could definitely be a blessing in disguise. So to Tanya, yes, you have nothing to lose.
Yeah. I think that one thing that I struggled with when I started my business was like comparing myself with other people. And because I'm in the marketing niche, it was like, oh, so and so is doing this, and they have like thousands of subscribers, right? And I can't compete with other people. And the earlier I was able to understand that my story is my business, basically, then the faster I was able to get the clients, because like just hearing this panel, um, Francis, Natalia, and me, our businesses are overlapping, but we have three different stories, three different approaches. We could offer the exact same digital product, exact same, but some people will come to Natalia, some people will come to Francis, some people will come to me because of our story. and
Yes.
people will relate to you, the person, the owner. It's not just McDonald's, like, okay, we don't know who the owner is. You are the face of your business. If you're talking about, digital business, it's you. So you have to put yourself out there. I'm not saying you have to go and dance on TikTok or anything like that. But I'm saying that your story, tell your story. If you don't know what to tell online, tell something, talk about something that happened when you were 10. It doesn't have to be business related. See, my kids are like talking to Alexa, so telling me to turn on the TV. That's me. So that's my brand. My brand is the mom who gets the kid to interrupt her lives, right? And so tell your story, and people will relate to your story, and that's how you get the clients. And it was hard for me to be able to quote unquote compete with other people because I'm like, oh, marketing, everybody's doing this. Oh, she's offering this. I can't offer it. No, you can offer the exact same thing, but it's how you do it. It's your story, and your humor, your demeanor, everything about you is your brand, right?
Mhm.
I want
That
to
Right?
add to
reminds
what
me of
she's
the
saying.
bread. I was gonna say real quick. That reminds me of the bread aisle. How many breads are there? People like different types of
Yeah.
bread. So if there could be 100 breads, there could be 100 people doing marketing. And like you said, they may like your type of bread. They like your type of bread because one has oats and one has white bread and one has this. So definitely do not worry about what other people are doing. You are unique and special in your own right, and people will come to you because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I
don't let that
started, I
stop
was
you from
worried.
jumping in.
I felt everybody was, I'm like, I'm not a mom. I never have issues with not being a mom. I'm totally fine with not having kids. But when I entered this space, I'm like, everybody's talking about their momness, and I don't have this, right? Like, I don't, everybody's a mom. And I'm like, I just want to travel first class and drink champagne. Like that, those, those are my goals. I want my bills paid. I want financial freedom, and I want to fly, make a left, be in a pod with champagne. And then I realized,
And
you know
that's
what?
okay.
And I realized, wait, a lot of my friends don't have kids. A lot of my friends are single. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I got lost in thinking everybody was a mom. And I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of moms, and wonderful. But there's a bunch of us who don't have kids, and we don't want to take vacations to Disney World. We want to travel around the world. And I had to be okay with that, like what Tiffany was saying about my people will find me and we can rock, right? Because I have a different flavor than the other women, and that's fine. We all have something amazing to offer, and I'm sure we can all talk after this too about how we can enrich each other's businesses, because everybody is not for. I'm a New Yorker. I'm outgoing, right? I mean, I was thinking about what I want to call a doctor as well, but I am an empath and I'm sensitive. I'm not an introvert though. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not an extrovert, but I'm not an introvert. So
You're an
I'm like,
ambivert.
Ambivert.
is that's like in the
Yeah.
middle?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm like, I am highly sensitive. That is, so I was like,
Beautiful.
we all have different flavors, and that's the beauty of this, right? Find the person you
Mhm.
connect with and do your thing, but just start.
But
Yep.
first, I would just add to that you have to connect with yourself. Everything that these ladies are talking about is about finding your truth and being able to live it. When you know who
Mhm.
you are, when you feel comfortable in your skin, you can stand up and talk to anybody about anything. So
Yep.
whatever a client came to me for, whether it was transitioning jobs, getting a divorce, moving out of the state, it all boiled down to how they felt about themselves, the
Mhm.
dialogue that they tell themselves, what they thought they were capable of, as opposed to what they were really, really capable of. So that mindset is key no matter what you want to do.
The healing it lends itself to authenticity, because when you're unhealed, most of us are wearing a mask. It's this, you put up this image of I'm okay,
Yeah.
or that didn't happen to me. But
Mm.
when you can heal all of that stuff, and healing is a journey. Nobody ever just you arrive like ta-da, Kofi fixed me, I'm healed. Healing is a process. But
Yeah.
I find the more healed I am, the more I can say it with my chest,
Yeah.
and the more authentically I can show up. And I am just Sandra. And if it works for you, you are welcome to stay. If you're good to me, I'm good to you. If this isn't your jam, it's okay.
Yeah.
Tiffany said something too. You have to be okay with folks falling away. For me, it's like pairing your audience. It's like honing in on who's for you. And
Yeah.
I find the more authentic I am, I don't want people around me that don't really know me. I don't want people around where I have to put on a face. No, I'm not going to be able to sustain that, first of all. Sooner or later, I'm going to show up. And so I need those people who are drawn to that thing in me to be in this space with me. That's who I'm talking to. And I'm okay, because a part of raising that price was who are these people? Who has the money? No. They will find you. I'm telling you. I love that, Coach Kofi. Healing, being authentic, saying who you are with your chest. Everything emanates from there.
Can I
Y'all, this was a whole big old master class. Yes, go, Natalia.
can I add to that? Yeah. So healing is so important because outside of healing, we're broken from our story, right? Like we're just disconnected from our own story. And so healing helps us to become one with our experience. And it's good for us, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm owning my story. This is what happened. I'm learning and evolving as a result of my healing journey. But it's also useful for personal branding and marketing because it just makes us relatable to real people. Like, who wants to be in connection with a perfect person? Not me, because it's like I'm gonna always be like, I am so imperfect. I got all this going on, and I currently, and I had all this going on in the past. Nobody wants a perfect person. Nobody wants a plastic Barbie doll. People,
Yeah.
the market wants very, very, very real people because it's like, I'm real. Like people who are looking to solve problems and achieve dreams, all they can see is their realness and what they're dealing with currently and what they've dealt with in the past. So when you are real, authentic, and just healed and just like owning your story and telling your story without shame, people are like, let me get some of that because I got a lot of realness too, and it sparks belief. It
Hmm.
sparks belief. Like, if she can do it, I can do it too. If she is like just being real about all rape, like abuse, divorce, being broke, like all the real things, they're like, oh,
Girl, being confused. Yep. Having sat in a situation longer than you should have. All of that, all those real things. You said it. But that because I know that's what I'm drawn to. The perfection for me, it does first of all, it doesn't feel real, it feels fake, and I can't compare. I just cannot, I can't relate. It's like if you don't have any dirt on you, how can you relate to me? If nothing ever happened to you, how can you relate to me as a person for real? So I'm with you all. I cannot say thank y'all enough. We're in an hour and 20 minutes. So I want to give everybody an opportunity because I think we did a good job of letting folks know who we are. But before we get out of here, I really want to give each one of you another opportunity to, with your elevator speech, let the ladies know what you do, where they can find you, and anything else that you want to leave us with. And we are not in a hurry. We are not in a rush. This is not that. I want you to take your time and lay it out so that if you're here, you understand what is available to you. Everybody's contact information is in the description box. We've dropped it in the chat as well. All of Can I just start here? How many people have a YouTube channel on the panel? I know. Oh, then we're gonna start
Mine
right
is
there.
new. Mine is new. I'm still and let me just say to anybody who's listening, right? Like I'm not new in the digital space as a business I am. And so I'm starting out with YouTube. I'm like, I made a video. I got up one day at 1 in the morning and I was just like, I'll just make a video.
And sister, we're about to go to your channel right now. So we need you to tell
Oh
us
my
what's the name of your
God. My
channel.
channel is Findings with Francis. And Stephanie would always say, well, everyone, Stephanie always says everyone should have a channel. I'm like, I'm home all the time. What am I going to talk about? But what I did realize is being home all the time, when I turn on this camera, I just have a lot to talk about. And I think it comes from being home alone and maybe not using my throat chakra. So when I turn on the camera, I'm just like,
Put it in the chat for me, Francis, because I
okay.
want to make sure that we get it right. So you all go right now. It's 34 of us. I doubt very highly that 34 people in the chat have already subscribed to
Oh, wait, in the
Francis'
chat,
channel.
on this private chat, or no?
Put it in the
In the
YouTube
YouTube chat.
chat. If
Okay.
you can get to the live chat, drop your YouTube channel in there, and we're going to go and support each other. That's what we do. That's how we do it. That's how we make it work.
And
Dr.
I want
Lynn,
to, whoever's afraid of like, just again, I just keep like, just do it. Create the video. Don't
yep,
just create the video. Who cares about?
yep,
I have one spot here. I mean, okay, Mahalia is beautiful, but like I'm in a 1 bedroom apartment.
it could be done. You all in my bedroom right now in Thailand. I mean, it is what it is. But and come on, nobody is looking for perfection. Francis, put your YouTube channel in the chat. And Dr. Linda, I know you have a YouTube channel as well. Is it Tokende Travels?
Yes, Tokende Travel. So actually, I have two YouTube channels because I started with my marketing one. So I have a marketing business where I do content marketing, and I basically help busy women stand out online. So basically, what do you post online to find clients? That's what I do. I do it for you, or we do it together, either through group coaching or one-on-one, like VIP days. So that's my favorite way to work with my clients, VIP days. And so that's the marketing part of my business. My second business is Tokende Travel, which started as documenting our family's process of moving abroad. I didn't start it as a business. I started it as, let me turn on this camera and talk to strangers, right? And so we're documenting the journey of packing, of figuring out where we're moving to, and also helping other people start online businesses, because that's how my husband and I are moving. It's because of our online businesses. We're not doing remote jobs. We're not looking for jobs to a new destination, is relying on our own online businesses. And so I want to help other people start online businesses as well, based on the things that they love, that they're passionate about, that they're good at, so that they can start making the money and then leave. And so that's Tokende Travel, my second YouTube channel.
Drop them in the chat for us because I have everything but that. I have your IG in the chat. I don't have y'all's YouTube channel, your handles in the chat.
All
And
right.
Natalia, you have a YouTube channel as well. Can you put that in the chat for us and tell us about where we can find you on YouTube?
Yeah, so I put it in the chat, and honestly, I have the YouTube channel. I have not been as active as I was, but that's something that I want to do. But you can also find me at nataliapowers.life. That's my IG. That's also my website. And basically, I host a monthly event that I kind of changed just recently. I pivoted, which was formerly called the Unlock Kingdom Wealth Workshop, and it is now called From Corporate America to Kingdom Corporate. And so we have that monthly event, and we also have the sisterhood, which the sisterhood is an idea that I launched in 2020, and is basically a very accessible way to find community where we talk about personal branding, your offer, and just all of the softer side of things. Like I always say this because I also host the Elite Kingdom Builders Mastermind, and this is where we talk about building funnels and, high ticket sales and all the things. But there's no shortage of business strategy. There is a shortage of a space where you can just come out of the closet and isolation about what's really, really, really going on and why aren't you executing on the business strategy, right? And so the sisterhood is just really, really all about just soaking in discovery, soaking in branding, like personal branding concepts to birth that sense of authority, confidence, and boldness that's necessary to market on a consistent basis. And so that's where you can find me.
Thank you. And we've got Tiffany's information up on the screen. Tiff, this is your, do you have one or two YouTube channels?
No, just one. Where in the Herd is Tiffany, and it's all about travel. And I also posted my Instagram pages, one for the travel space, so you see the solo travels, the group travel, and then the Hues of Africa page is the actual books, Hues of Africa and Hues of HBCUs, and then also the website, huesofafrica.com. That is where you'll see everything that I do, which is the group trips and the book all in one location, and so that's where you can find me at. And for the books, if you are interested in becoming an author, I do those consultations as well, if that's something that anybody is interested in as well.
And you can also find Tips books on Amazon. I found you on Amazon. So, and I think if you go to Hues of Africa, it'll link you to Hues of HBCU too.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
all
both the
kinds of
books
ways.
are, yes, both the books are Amazon, and they both should be on the website as well.
Yeah. Coach Kofi is an author as well. And I know that they can find your books. Is it the Stand Store?
You can go to the Stand Store. You can go to coachkofi.com, which is my website. You can find me on Amazon also. The name of my book is called Solo Sisters: 52 Proven Principles to Help Women Find Themselves, Overcome Fears, and Embrace New Beginnings. But what I'd really love for you to do is to come over if you are one of those sensitive souls. I just did a pivot. I am really only working with women that light me up. And it's taken some time to get to this point, to be bold enough to say, you know what? I really only want to work with introverts, empaths, and highly sensitive women, because I am all three of those. And it's effortless to work with these women. I'm not pushing a rock uphill. I want to work smarter, not harder. And I want to do work that really I'm passionate about. So if you are that type of woman, that describes you. If you are attracting unhealthy relationships and you can't seem to understand why, if you have unhealed trauma, then I want you to come on over to the Empath Circle. It's not a pity party. It's on the other side of, I want to get you on the other side of that trauma, on the other side of your healing, so that you can, number one, live bold and aligned with your truth. But number two, and more importantly, is to protect your energies, protect your sensitive energies from the predators of this world. They love sensitive souls like ours because we're accommodating, we're giving. Not only are we women, not only are we Black women, but we're accommodating and we're sensitive and we're giving and we're kind. And unfortunately, there are those who take advantage of that. I am a result of that. This work that I do is a result of that. And I just want to help women to live more and to suffer less. So if this resonates with your spirit, head over to IG at the Empath Circle. Because I'm pivoting, I haven't launched my YouTube channel yet, but I've also learned just to focus and do one thing at a time, because that works for me. Again, it all comes back to really, truly knowing yourself intimately. It makes everything unfold so much nicer and so much smoother, sis.
Yeah, I love that whole thing about working with people who are in alignment with you, with your what your passion is and what your mission is. And I'm telling you all, I tried to dance around it in the intro. That's why these women are here with me tonight. I have to be careful because sometimes I get ahead of myself and I don't always use the right words. And I think I said this before and I got a couple dirty looks. I said, I don't work with people I don't like. That's partly true. But what is really most true is I have found that the universe is abundant. And if you are willing to just work with anybody for the sake of working with them because you're afraid the money isn't going to come, that never works for me. It never works for me. Event conflict is going to, it comes up. And I have learned over time that if we are not in alignment, if you vex my spirit one time too many, it's like, no, I'm not forcing it. I'm not forcing it anymore. And I'm going to be okay. I trust the process. The people will come. The right folks will come, will find me. Coach Kofi, I love that. I think that is such a beautiful note for us to end on and wrap up on. Does anybody have anything else? Because that whole knowing you, healing, working in alignment, that's a winning recipe right there. That's where I think all of it can start and stem from. Know who you are, heal, do your own work. only work and be in alignment with those folks that share that same, that spark that joy in you. Other than that, you could stay at corporate America. You could stay in a dead end job. You could stay at that job that sucks the life out of you if that's what you're going to do. We're not trying to recreate that in our own spaces. Are you kidding me? The world is our oyster. It's open to you. You can create the most beautiful space. You can put in it anything you want. You can pivot 25 times. You can turn it around, flip it around, do it again. These women are here telling you that. They're here to support you in that mission. And all I ask is that we just support one another. So, all the YouTube channels that we put in the chat, please, if that speaks to you, please go over and support those women. We have a couple other sisters that are in the chat, and I'd like to just call them out because they have YouTube channels as well. If you are a plant lover, Yvette Boone Creates. When I tell you, my sister not only is the plant whisperer, she will entertain you. I can watch Yvette's videos. I laugh, I cry, I learn, hands down, every time. And I get entertained. Just phenomenal. I think we had Naturally Ally D in the chat. I saw Tasha Journeys. Big up yourself. I just love Winsome.
I do want to
Winsome's,
add something too. Sorry, before you.
yeah, go for it.
I just want to add that to everyone listening, none of this matters. Nothing will happen unless you start. You have to start. You have to start doing something. Whether it be, if healing is definitely a journey. I've taken steps forward and I recently took one step back. It's a journey, but creating an extra stream of income, whatever it is any of us are doing, it's because we started. So wherever you are, just start. Contact any of us. Just start. Do it afraid.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yep. And on that note, ladies, I just want to thank you. Thank you all for saying yes. Thank you for being sisters, for real sisters. I know that if anything goes down, I know who to call for my branding. I know who to call for my marketing. I know who to call when I need somebody to speak and help soothe my sensitive soul. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all, and I'm going to wrap up on this note. And this is the truth. I not only started this Money After Dark to help share information, but I really wanted the panelists that come on. These are people that are near and dear to me. I wanted a way to give them their flowers. I wanted a way to say, sister, thank you. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for making a difference. Thank you for being a friend. Just thank you for your existence in my space because it truly has impacted me. So when you all see somebody show up here and I spend an hour and a half of my time, trust and believe it's somebody I know, it's somebody I love, it's somebody I respect. And so I wish you all well. Ladies, if you all hold on for 1 second, we're going to sign off and then we'll wrap up. So please like, subscribe, share this video. Even if there wasn't something in it for you tonight, share it with another sister. There might be someone close to you that could benefit from this conversation. And we will see you here again next month. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Marilyn, thank you. You are my sister. I love you, sister. Thank you for Marilyn is our moderator extraordinaire. When you see anything flashing across the screen, if you got any information, that's because Marilyn is at the helm. Thank you, sister. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.